My name is Ashley Miller. I'm here to talk to you about upskilling around AI that you can trust and the importance of choosing the right tool as your foundation. Let me show you why that selecting the right tool is really critical to a successful rollout. So, has anybody seen this meme before? Show of hands. Okay, few hands, few chuckles. I laughed when I saw it too, because it's true and because it resonates, right? We've all had this kind of experience with AI. We heard Alex talk about the prevalence of hallucinations across the market. Nobody's dying here, but at the same time, your work and your team's work is truly important, and it's too important to chance. So reliable AI output depends on two critical things. One is the right input, and the second is the right tool. If you get those right, your team can move with greater confidence. So most legal teams, as they're running an AI initiative, they follow this exact pattern. They find the tool, they like it, they buy it, and then they build a training program around it. Problems happen when you get to step 3. Something goes wrong. A lawyer uses it on a real matter or in a pilot, something goes wrong. The AI generate a clause that looks right, something similar to what we just went through, but it introduces liability that nobody intended to agree to. Or it cites a statute that has been superseded. It hallucinated. Maybe the lawyer catches it, but the damage is done, even if there is additional training to happen around the tool. She tells 2 of her colleagues. Those colleagues then tell other colleagues, and the upskilling investment that we're making collapses because it was built on foundation that nobody trusts. This stat shouldn't be surprising to anybody because the trust issues are pervasive. So 60% of counsel cite lack of trust in outputs as the #1 barrier to their implementations. Not costs, not integration, but trust in the outputs. And we're seeing recognizable patterns in those trust gaps, right? These are what we hear about the most frequently. Misquoted statutes, hallucinated authorities, clause drift, and formatting errors that have resulted in rejected filings and judicial warnings. So, what does good legal AI actually look like? I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing at Litera, and then I'm going to show you some of our workflows in the tool. Now, there are tons and tons of workflows that are available, so come talk to our team at booth 523 if you want to learn more. But at a high level, these are the most important factors as you're looking at your AI tools. Litera is built on 30 years of legal market experience that's shaped by lawyers who understand what precision means and when errors have real consequences. That foundation shows up in our architecture. Litera's AI is not just an LLM. Deterministic, rules-based engines sit at the foundation, grounding every output in that logic rather than probability. So that's how we eliminate hallucinations, not by hoping that the model gets it right, but by building a technical backstop to ensure that it does. So what does that mean in practice? Playbook deviations. Those are powered by Litera Compare. Litera Compare is the legal redlining industry standard that is trusted by 75% of the industry. We run 10 million comparisons a month with 0 hallucinations, and every red line is exact. Clause abstraction, for those use cases, at scale is powered by Kira. That's the market-leading machine learning tech that's been in the market for 15 years, and it was built on 45,000 hours of lawyers working across 50 jurisdictions. Not generated from a prompt, earned through that expertise and that experience. Generative AI is then layered on top of those foundational models. So the input that's provided from those solutions gives you that baseline that you can trust. Now, because it's built on this multi-layered architecture, That gives us the ability to scale without drift. That accuracy holds whether you're reviewing one document or 2,000 documents. Now, 3 things flow from that foundation. Those are captured here. This is really the money slide as you're looking at how you're evaluating your technology. Now, first thing that flows is defensibility. We heard Alex talk a little bit about that. Where is this coming from? We know where it's coming from. It's coming from those foundational tools that have been the market leaders for years. Every result is traceable and auditable. Second, control. Data residency, Gen AI guardrails, project level oversight, all of that is available as settings, not an IT ticket. And then third, ease of use. Our tools live in Word and in Outlook. That's where your lawyers are already working. And our AI agent, Lido, lets lawyers describe what they need in plain language. So we talked about prompting. Our agent handles the translation. So prompt engineering is not required. So accuracy, defensibility, ease of use, these aren't nice to haves. These really need to be critical components to what you're looking at as you're making these evaluations. I'm going to walk through a couple of workflow examples, as I mentioned. We have 30 to 40 out-of-the-box capabilities as it relates to some of these Gen AI components. We also offer the ability, as mentioned, to build a ton of other skills. So if you have additional questions, come talk to our team. All right, so with that, I am going to jump into a common workflow. I've received an NDA from a counterparty that I need to review against our standard. Right here in Outlook, you have a Latera button. By clicking that button, it opens Lido. You can immediately ask Lido a question, or you can ask Lido to make a suggestion. Here, Lido is suggesting, based on that email, that I can run an NDA playbook agent, or I can look at the defined terms or provide a list of open items. I want to run that playbook review. So I'm going to put that command in, upload my playbook, and then I'm going to view my results once those are completed. These results are going to open in our Latera 1 interface. As you can see, you are given, hold on one second, a summary of the key compliance gaps and suggestions in that NDA against the playbook. In addition, you have the ability to look at all of the details on a clause-by-clause level. It shows whether it's compliant, partially compliant, not compliant, gives an explanation and makes suggestions. Now let's say you have a follow-up question that isn't clear from all of this. You want to know what a standstill period is. You type that question into the Lido chat interface and it provides an answer. Now, let's say I want to draft an email to my boss, the GC, to summarize these findings and include a red flags list. Lido will generate that email for me, and it will give me suggestions in terms of what I can do next as the awesome lawyer that I am, always thinking ahead. Additionally, I have the ability to change the tone and the style of my email depending on who I'm reaching out to. If it's a business stakeholder, I can make it more sharp to the point. If you need to provide something a little bit more formal, you can do that too. Takes me back into Outlook. I hit my reply button, and that email is automatically populated for me with everything that we just saw. I hit send. Now I'm on to my next matter. So next thing I want to show you is a MSA workflow. I just received an updated version of an MSA that I've been reviewing from my colleague. I'm going to hit Latera. Again, I can query right here, or I can get suggestions from the tool. Here, it's recommending that I run a red line, review defined terms, or list the open items in that updated draft. So I'm going to compare because I want to see all of the differences between versions. Now, this pulls up an interface that many are familiar with. This is Litera Compare interface, right? So you can do all of the things that you typically do in Litera Compare. You can see that our chat with Lido is persistent and on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, you can make this a lot bigger, you can minimize this, but just for our purposes today, I'm gonna keep everything visible on one screen so we can talk through it. Now, you have the ability to save in a number of different formats, track changes, etc. You can jump around your comparison as you need. You can switch the original and modified version and show the result. Or, let's say, now that I've had the opportunity to review those changes, I really want to understand a summary of the risk that's associated with it. So I'm going to type in mitigate risk, run that skill. What Lido is doing then is it is ranking the risk associated with the changes for each clause. Let's say I want to focus in on the medium level risk items. What it will provide me is it will provide me with a summary of what those changes were, what the impact is, and suggestions in terms of how I can mitigate that risk. So let's say in this instance, I know that I'm not going to be able to revert back to the original language, but I can insert additional guardrails and we can kind of meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to select the two mitigation strategies I want to take, and I'm going to ask Lido to rewrite the clause incorporating those strategies. I have the ability to interface with that here, make additional tweaks and or look for other things. Let's say that that looks good. I then can take this clause and pop it into my document in Word, where I can continue to work with it, okay? From here, I can open up Litera again, and I can continue to work within my document. Now, we pasted new content into that contract. Formatting's a little off, right? That's a problem. Luckily, I can fix all of that throughout the document in just a couple of clicks. So from here, I can repair my document, conform font type, conform font size. All of that's automatically fixed. I can clean up formatting. I can look for proofreading errors, things like defined terms, ensuring that they're consistent throughout the document, stuff that regular proofing doesn't catch that's legal specific. I also can continue to use my agent to ask questions about some of the substantive materials that are captured in the contract. Tons of other capabilities in here. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about prompting and upskilling. So we know that AI is only as good as the prompt as well as the tool behind it. This becomes problematic when you have a bunch of people that don't really know how to prompt. That's okay. What we've done is we've created Lido Studio that gives you the ability to create new skills using natural language. I'm going to reload it and see if that works. So I just hit Create New. I'm going to select Skill. And from here, I'm going to describe exactly what I want to create. I want to build a SaaS playbook review, so I can upload my playbook and a SaaS agreement. Lido can analyze, it can flag the differences, risk level, etc. And I want to see the output in a table. If I hit Generate Skill, Lido does the heavy lifting for me. So it created an incredibly in-depth skill that outlines the specific input. It outlines all of the task instructions, all of the rules, and it verifies the output. Now, I have the ability to take that and run a preview to test it. Does it work? It's prompting me to put my inputs in, and then I can run that test. And what it will do is it will pull up the prompt and the test side by side. If I run the skill, there it is. This gives me the ability to easily sanity check the work. If I need to revise, I go back into my prompt and I make the necessary revisions. Then I run the test again. This makes that iteration process so much easier and more streamlined. Now let's say I'm at a place where this looks good. This is the output that I needed and expected. I'm going to hit save. I can save that skill for later. I can build off it, or I can publish it and I can share it with the rest of my legal team. That means they all now have the ability to use that same skill without recreating the wheel. As I mentioned, we do have about 30 to 40 skills within Lido that are already built in. We are constantly developing more, but we are at booth 523 if you want to come talk to our team to learn a little bit more. From there, I am just going to share a couple more slides to wrap this up. So as you are selecting tools, it's important to assess how the solutions that you are choosing power that input, how they guide your users, and whether with those components they meet the accuracy standard that legal work requires. So that's the bar that we need to set from an evaluation standpoint. That's the bar that Litera is built to. So here is your new roadmap. Thank you so much for your time today. There's a lot to go through in 15 minutes. We've got a lot of different capabilities, so appreciate it.